how's everybody doing? Welcome back to Ask That Podcast on YouTube. I know, wrestling, Ask That Podcast. Yes, since this book's already been covered over on the other channel. This is the Mississippi Wrestling Territory, the Untold Story about Gil Culkin. Gil Culkin, of course, is the son of George Culkin. I'm sorry, Mr. Culkin, I forgot your father's name. George Culkin, who was in charge of running the state of Mississippi back in the day in wrestling. They were part of Leroy McGuirk's territory for a long time, working with Bill Watts and all them, and then they separated. And that's what this is about. This is about after they separated, why they left Bill Watts, all that stuff, and all the crazy stuff. And there's some great stories in this. And Mr. Culkin admits first time he'd ever written anything like this, he didn't send it through a proofreader or an editor. And besides a few little minor spelling mistakes, once or twice he's saying the word principal, he's talking about the person, not the thing, and he spells it P-L-E instead of P-A-L, but hey, that happens. I mean, for a first book, it's amazing how well this is, really amazing. It was wow, a few little syntax there, nothing major, none that harms your enjoyment of the book. Now, it took me a little while to read this. I'm, right now, with everything going on in my brain, I can't sit down and read for 4 hours in a row like I normally do, because I got in this, 4 months ago, I would have sat down and read it all in one day. Now, first off, before I even get started going a little further, I want to go a quick shout out to old Monty Warbucks for letting me know this book was out there. Thank you so much, Monty. Your little post, I'm like, oh, great. And, if y'all watched my show, you saw that Papa Gallows did a review of this. He loved this book. So what's it all about? Well, it's about, the Mississippi Wrestling Territory, the Great Mephisto, Frankie Kane, and all the other wrestlers that went through there, Pork Chop Cash, Sugar Bear Harris, yes, Kamala got his start in Mississippi. He's from Mississippi. All the other crazy stuff that went on, some of the great road stories. That's what I love about wrestling. I want to hear the road stories, because I've traveled with a group of friends to many shows to go film, do commentary, vend, whatever, photos. Some of the guys with the group are managers, stuff like that. And we got some road stories. Some we can share, some we can't. This right here has some great versions. My two probably favorites. Gil was in charge of picking up Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff from the Jackson Airport, if I remember right. They were heading to Vicksburg or Greenwood, Greenville, one of those. I'm sorry if I get Greenville and Greenwood mixed up. I've never been to either town, so I always get them mixed up. Well, the plane came in late, so Gil's having to haul ass. Because this is back in the day, people, before there was interstates all through Mississippi. Most of this was 2-lane roads, old country roads at that, where, top speed was probably 60. Well, Gil's hauling ass, and a cop passed by him. He's like, shh. He knows they're going to get pulled over. Them lights hit, so he pulls over, gets out of the van, walks back. And this shows all it was, you got out of your car and walked to the cop car. You do it now, your ass going to get shot. This is the 60s or 70s now. Probably 70s. He's talking to the cop, and Mr. Wonderful gets out of the car and starts back there, and the cop just draws, going, get back in the van, get back, freaking the hell out, get back in the van. I mean, Mr. Wonderful back then was that big bitch, I can understand the cop being a little scared. He sees this big guy coming towards him. Well, it all gets settled. I'm pretty sure Gil got a ticket. Back in the van, and Mr. Wonderful says, well, good thing they didn't search me, and whips out a big-ass joint, and just fires it up. And Gil mentions, he never did drugs, but that night he took him a hit off that joint. And he was so worried when he got to the ring, his dad would know. Never mentioned his dad knowing. My other favorite story in this was Gil, because he's a younger guy, and his dad didn't want to show me preferential treatment, which thankfully a lot of times promoter sons get preferential treatment, or promoter's family gets preferential treatment. I've seen it happen. Y'all have all heard it happen. George Goulas, the Goulas family, everybody knows about that, that's why Brian Christopher for years didn't want people knowing that he was Jerry Lawler's son. But so Gil's driving the ring truck with the ring and a trail behind going. And this is back in the day. I don't see these anymore. You used to have those little tip-out windows. You had your window on your driver's side. You had a little tip-out window. We had it tipped out, and he throws a cigarette out the window. Back in the day, we didn't think nothing about it. You ever smoke a cigarette, you throw it out the window. You didn't think about the butts polluting and everything. Different times, people. We throws it out a little ways down the road. They start seeing a little bit of smoke coming from behind the trail. I don't think nothing about it. Go further, there's a lot more smoke. They pull over and realize the cigarette had bounced, landed in the ring trail, and set the pad in on fire. Thankfully, they were near a creek. So they ran out of the creek and got the pad and put out, and they show up to the show, and they just reek of smoke. The pad's half burnt. And he had to explain to his dad, my bad habit almost cost you a ring. And what blows my mind is Gil remembers this stuff so well. I'm sitting there calling him Gil. I've only talked to the man one time. Mr. Culkin remembers this stuff so well. It feels like he kept a diary, but I don't really think he did. My only other complaint about the book is that he spent about 3 chapters telling his history, which I understand. He wants you to get to know him. Those 3 chapters on him, like, okay, this is interesting, but I really don't care. I want to know about the rustling stuff, which he got into it quick. But yeah, really great book. If you're at all interested in the history of wrestling in the Deep South, this is one to pick up. Now, as far as I know, you can get it through Amazon. That's where I got my copy. I'm pretty sure this is print on demand. There's no publisher listed anywhere on here, you know. And it's about $20. But, you know, as you can see, it's a couple hundred pages. It's worth it. Just the information in here that you probably cannot find anywhere else. Because I've looked online for years and years, and there ain't much information online about the Culkin's territory. Is called the ICW. Now, I know if you hear ICW, think, oh, the Pothos then said nothing. This was around before the Pothos started there. So it's the Culkin ICW. And I'm going to throw this out there because I'm getting ready to wrap this up. Anybody out there listening to this, if you have any Culkin's ICW footage, please get in touch with me. Leave a comment here. Contact me at asshatpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to get all the copies. I will gladly pay, you know, the cost of the blanks, cost of shipping, and a little extra for your services to get a hold of this stuff. I'm trying my best to gather all that is left out there of the Culkin's ICW, Gulf Coast Championship Wrestling, and all that stuff, because once that's gone, it's gone, you know. I mean, Mr. Culkin admits in the book, you know, they wiped the tapes because tapes were expensive, so they just taped back over tape. They didn't think people would be wanting to see this stuff 30, 40, 50, 60 years later, you know. So, I hope y'all enjoyed this, and if this sounds interesting, please go buy this book. I'm hoping this book sells well enough where Mr. Culkin does another book. I hope this sells well enough where whoever has the knowledge can do a Gulf Coast Championship Wrestling book. I want more books about the history of wrestling in the Deep South. I'd love one on the history of Louisiana, one on the history of Alabama, you know, one on Florida, one on Georgia. Hope you enjoyed it, man. If you did, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, all the other bullshit. Talk to everybody later. Bye-bye.